Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Jacob Smith. It's nice to see you again. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. It's nice to see you again too.
Yes, sir. Um, I guess the last time when you were here, we set an appointment for today. Um, and then we went through a number of things during the last meeting, which we did was the assessment. And then we found out we came up with two diagnoses, and that was a persistent depressive disorder and an alcohol use disorder. Um, I guess, I guess from the last meeting, can you remember some of the things we spoke about and some of the symptoms that you described? And could you go over that briefly?
Yeah, so last time I remember you asked me a lot of questions
Yes.
about my life and about my alcohol use. And really, what's been bothering me has been my alcohol use.
Yes, sir. And then I guess last time we remember, I'm sure you remember talking about the alcohol use and the depression. Um, you identified that the alcohol use was a coping mechanism, and what I mean by coping mechanism was something that you used to deal with your depression after retiring and losing your friend network and then your friends. I guess does that sound right?
Yes.
So if you remember the last time after the meeting, I said during um the next meeting we will be discussing creating a treatment plan. So this treatment plan is basically has to do with the intervention process. So now having identified um, the diagnosis as persistent depressive disorder, which means as you said, you've had the depressive symptoms for over 2 years, and it seems to be affecting functioning in your life. And then also the alcohol use disorder seems to be affecting functioning in your life. So we discussed that we're going to create what is called a treatment plan. And a treatment plan basically documents the interventions that we're going to be using. Um, and then we have to make, I guess, the goals and the objectives and the way in which we'll be addressing the persistent depressive disorder and the alcohol use disorder. Um, I guess, do you understand that, or would you like me to go through what the treatment plan is again?
Yes, I understand.
Uh, I guess, anyway, briefly, just in keeping in touch with you, it's just a reminder, as I had mentioned the last time, same thing about the confidentiality. So each session, as the first session was, remains confidential, as I mentioned the first one. So I wouldn't be able to share information from this session without your permission. And then, as I said, if there's threats of harm, and then if I'm required by the court. So with this treatment plan, I guess, first of all, I'd like to ask you, I guess, about coping mechanisms. So first of all, do you have ways in which, maybe starting out with depression, do you have ways in which you've been um, treating, I guess, dealing with the depression? and coping with it that you found helpful so far?
Well, the only thing that I've really been doing has been listening to music.
Mm,
It's the only thing that really makes me kind of have some joy
yeah.
and forget about things for a little while.
Well, yeah. Is there anything else?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, and then in terms of coping mechanisms, it could also be negative things. So, for example, even although even they are using the alcohol, although we're trying to change it into more positive coping mechanisms, but would you say that the alcohol also, apart from listening to music, which sound like a positive, you say the alcohol is a positive, or was it the alcohol was a negative coping mechanism for you, or has been?
Oh, for sure. Yes.
So, um, yeah, so in, I guess, in creating this treatment plan, we're looking at building, making goals, and these goals and um, objectives. First of all, the goals are kind of like, for example, I guess, what would you say, for example, like, would you say that um, quitting like your alcohol use and finding good coping mechanisms would be like some of the goals that you have?
Yes.
Yes. So if those are goals, then we break them down into objectives, which are more particular steps in which you can achieve those goals. So, for example, now you have rebuilding positive coping mechanisms. You already mentioned one, which was listening to music. So now we can put that as an objective, um, for example. So um, I guess with also with alcoholism, um, what would you say as some of like the um I guess breaking down now the alcohol use disorder, have you found anything like helpful to stop you from using alcohol?
Well, really, the only thing that's made me not use as much has been my kids.
Mm.
Thinking about them.
So it sounds like your kids are like a motivator for you to stop using alcohol. And is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess so far, like how successful would you say that has been as a motivation?
I would say that it has been a really good motivator,
Mm.
but again, I still drink excessively, even though it is a little bit less.
Um, well, I mean, I guess it's good to hear that you have that motivator. However, you still are looking forward to improving and then cutting out, I guess, the amount of alcohol, if not eradicating all of it. Um, so I guess also with if you remember the last time speaking about medication, I said you had to attend four sessions before we can refer you to the psychiatry services, which is in charge of medication. Um, so that you'd have to complete four services. So I guess in the past, have you tried using um, any medications to help with the your excess use of alcohol?
No.
No. Okay. And would you say that you are interested in in still using medication in the future to help you get over your alcohol use disorder? Yeah.
Yes, I would be open to that.
Yeah. Again, so although even if that would be again one of the objectives, so the goal is stopping the alcohol use disorder. So an objective that helps would be through using medication. Even though um you would have to complete those 4 sessions. Would you still like us to put in your objectives medication so that we can work towards that by the time you complete 4 sessions?
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess just reframing now and then just kind of summarizing and looking at um the depression you've mentioned, listening to music as a positive coping mechanism for you in terms of like alcohol. You've identified your children as motivators, although you still are looking for more motivators to help you deal with that. And then also with the alcohol, you've identified being interested in using medication to treat and help you deal with your alcohol use disorder, even though that would be after completing um, 2 more sessions, because the first assessment actually counted as one. This session counts as the second one, and then having 2 more. Um, I guess now with you identifying those coping mechanisms that you've used in the past, are there some more coping mechanisms that you think you could use to help you with depression, for example, with just staying home, starting with depression? Do you feel like there are more coping mechanisms that you could use to help you get out of the home and then not be as depressed?
I think I could use some more.
Yeah, so you think you could use some more. So I guess could you identify some of those, if possible, any of those things that you enjoy that you think will get you out of that depressed mode state?
Well, do you all have a day program?
Yes, we do have a day program.
Because I think my biggest problem is where I'm retired and my family's not home. I really have no reason to do anything. Like I have no reason to like go out or anything like that.
Oh,
And I would like something that could keep me busy
usually during the day. Oh, nice.
so that I'm not more prone to drinking.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a wonderful idea. So yes, we do have um a day program here at our agency, and it runs every every weekday, um and then it runs from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the day program has a driver who would pick you up from home and then drop you back after the program. And the day program works. I guess they have so many activities. They have so many other people of similar ages as you. And then they do lots of fun stuff. They go on so many activities. So I'll just be required with your consent if I could make that referral. However, we're going to add that on the objectives for the depression. So that would be enrolling you for the day program.
You have my permission.
Yes.